Call 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5 Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
Good Friday afternoon. Nice to have you on board. Busy show coming your way next 3 hours. Lots of good guests. We'll get you into the weekend. I don't know, Brett. Maybe it's if you put a Memphis uniform on, you're just going to turn the basketball over.
That's not a good thing to be.
Well, it seems to be the way it goes. The college team does it quite a bit. Hopefully they won't tomorrow against Houston, 1 o'clock at FedEx Forum.
Yep,
the Grizzlies sure did to start the final third of the year. The All-Star break, maybe that made them rusty. 20 turnovers.
Lumbering out of the break, weren't they?
20 turnovers.
Not sharp.
If they have 15 turnovers, they win the game going away.
Against a not very good team. And, there's been so much discussion this week around town and through the printed word and through the internet and through the airwaves about criticism and who can be and who should be and why they need to be. First of all, Dave, both of us have been around here for a long time and seen criticism. I think the criticism of the Tigers this year has been mostly born out of frustration and hope maybe not springing eternal. I don't think it's been that deep dig into anybody, and I don't think it's necessary or warranted for anybody to get it. Somewhere Andre Turner's around town's got to be chuckling at anybody thinking that this team's been criticized, because in the days of one talk show and two newspapers, Andre Turner, it was awful how he got treated that freshman year and responded, and a good, tough man that he is, responded to it and went on to a much-loved career. The criticism of the Tigers hadn't been much. But I say all that to bring this up once again. Grizzlies don't ever get the criticism the Tigers get. Ever.
That is an interesting psychological question to ask, because the Grizzlies have never been in the position where you said that team is going to win the NBA championship.
Very true. Very true.
And Tigers fans, and not every year, but Tigers fans every 20 or so
deep run
expect a national title. And you're right about Andre Turner. I mean, let's face it, Andre Turner's nickname his freshman year was Andre Turnover.
Dave, that was awful how he was treated.
And it is odd, but he had, and I want to say it was his grandmother who passed away. And the Tigers were playing a really big game, and it might have been against Kansas. My memory is not quite as good as yours is. But I can tell you he missed that big game because of the death in the family. And that is when Memphis realized this guy's pretty important. And he came back and he kept getting better and better and better. And he worked on his game and he stopped turning the ball over. and he became one of the great guards. His name was on the list, by the way, of the team of the century. We had a meeting the other day about the team of the century. It should be coming out pretty soon. I can't give away anything.
How many will be on it?
10. 10 men, 10 women.
I can't remember my vote, but after I see
it's hard. It's hard to
it's
come
very
to
hard.
10. It really is.
It's very hard because it is.
But you've got All-Americans on there. That kind of makes it easy. You've got players that were Conference Players of the Year. That's into consideration. Length of how long you played is into consideration.
The early years of John Calipari, and it took a while. The criticism was much heavier on him than right now, and it shouldn't be any criticism on Coach Hardaway
John
right now.
always was a lightning rod. Seriously, I can remember, and I have no idea why, but there were so many people that were against the hiring of John right off the bat. Oh, he's a sleazeball. He's a carpetbagger. He won't stick around. He really can just recruit. He can't coach. All that stuff came out there. And then you grew to love him because you won. And then even when he was here, there was, I'm not going to name his name, a guy getting on him because he gave another chance to Jeremy Hunt. There was always a different set of things. So you're right. There was criticism there. I honestly think
this hasn't even been lukewarm.
That for the Grizzlies, there have been the only criticism I ever hear has never been on like the team itself or even the players, which is odd. But It has been on ownership. They didn't like Michael Heisley for a little bit.
Well, isn't that easy? Because they're way over there, and isn't it easy to play the class warfare game?
And we're on Robert Parra because he never comes. But Robert Parra made a good hiring this time.
I love Mike Heisley, and I knew him. I don't love nor detest or any emotion for Robert Parra because I don't know him at all, and I don't know many that do know him.
I thought the world of Michael Heisley.
I did too.
And I don't know we'll ever have an owner like Michael Heisley, even though he didn't live here. He lived here part of the time, bought the house out on Southwind.
He liked here.
He liked being here. His family was in Chicago. That was his home.
I love Stan
Actually,
Meadows.
his real home, from where he grew up, was in New England. But he had adopted Chicago, and now he had adopted Memphis. And he did a lot of philanthropic things. I think you have to give Mike Dolich and Andy Gollop a lot of credit for that.
Andy Dolich, Mike Gollop.
Yeah.
I know what you meant. Good fellas.
Good. They were part of that whole crew that had a real conscience about the city and set up a lot of the philanthropic things that they did. And, they were Andy Dolich in particular was very much involved with Michael Heisley on setting up the Martin Luther King Symposium and that game and making a big deal of it.
Got it done.
So they were there for that.
And Mary Harrington.
But Robert Parra has really, I think he's been criticized.
He has been, and again, but that's easy. He's kind of the great Oz. He's way over there. How are you really? Even in the media, let's just be fully honest about it. In the media, isn't it easy to pick on him? Because if he punches at all with anybody, he's punching down. If nothing else, checkbook.
Well, I'm not sure he'd get criticized at all if he ever spoke. That's the problem. He is not at all available to this city, whether it's through media or church groups or anything like that.
Anything.
All these things
Nothing.
that Michael Heisley did.
He won't
He
come.
spoke at churches and he spoke at Temple and he went to Rotaries,
Cut ribbons,
and
kiss babies.
And he was held responsible for what happened. He said, "Okay, we got a 3-year plan. We're going to win within 3 years," and he did it.
And he did.
Okay, and with Robert, you just don't hear anything, and that's why he's put other mouthpieces in place.
What's the Grizzlies'
Frankly,
coach?
now, do we have a real mouthpiece? It's not Robert Parra. We know that. I don't think it's Jason Wexler. He's a business guy. Taylor Jenkins speaks, but it's as a coach. It's not anything about direction of franchise. You did hear from Zach Kleiman.
Well, a select few.
You heard him to start the year, and you heard him pretty much at the All-Star break when he did speak after the trade deadline. That's it. So there's really nobody, and Honestly, I'm guilty of not going to Grind City. Maybe you get more information there that I just don't know about. But I would think if it was a major story, it would end up carrying over past their own mouthpiece.
What Grizzlies coach, since they've been here, who's been the subject of the most scorn? Which one really got smacked around by us, listeners, fans?
That one's easy. That would be
Mark Ivoroni.
Mark Ivoroni. Exactly.
No question about it. That
Arrogant guy. I'm from Virginia. I mean, that was his attitude. Like,
boy, that bunch is proud of that. They walked on that lawn. Woo!
He was really
going
out of
to heaven.
I think he was out of touch with the fan base. He was out of touch with his own players. That was a mistake.
He worked very hard to be
think,
out of touch.
I think the fans realized right off the bat that he was out of touch. Mark Ivoroni would be the guy. Yeah, no question.
All right, now after him, tell me another one that really got the treatment.
Well, we didn't really. First of all, the very first coach, Sidney Lowe, wasn't here very long. One and two,
very nice person.
Nobody expected anything, or no one was going to be rude at that time. They were brand new to the family.
Honeymoon.
That's like the baby coming home, right?
Sure.
You give them everything you want.
We loved him,
and
he was a nice person.
That's part of the reason why nobody really gets criticized for anything from there, because again, our expectations for the most part have never been on a grandiose stage.
But Lionel Hollins,
there were people last year that were criticizing both, really, Mark Gasol when they started losing. You know, he was getting older. He wasn't into it. He played too much international. There was criticism on Marcus. He's moody, not a leader. You know, don't expect him to be a leader.
But that's matched by about 25 on the other side wanting some type of statue or jersey retirement for him.
And this team this year, with no expectations, they've actually overachieved. So you're one game over 500. We're acting like they're in the midst of a championship run here.
We really are.
So let me ask you this: that was a stinker of a game last night.
Stinker.
Not only for the team.
You let the Tigers do that commensurate to their game. The score wouldn't have been 129-125. That's not how college basketball plays out. But you let the Tigers have that when everybody's kind of wound up for it, 9 o'clock, first game back, and have splat.
Wasn't that a little bit like the equivalent of playing East Carolina? Now, they were on the road. They weren't at home. But if you look at the NBA, that would be like Memphis, the Tigers, taking on East Carolina.
What was the Tiger equivalent this year? What was the Tiger equivalency of that? Sure was it the 40-point game at Tulsa? No, because 40 is so large.
No, they last night against a very average team, there was two really good players on that team last night, Harrison Barnes and Fox. Fox is really he's quicker. I think he's quicker than Ja.
Yeah, and that's NBA players.
And by the way, so if we're going to be critical, that was a stinker of a game, but it was a stinker of a game for Ja Morant. What do you have, 6 turnovers in that game?
Exactly, Dave.
I mean, he was, until the fourth quarter, and they put themselves in a big hole, until the fourth quarter when he decided to score, he didn't look so good. It almost looked like, you know what, now they know they're going to game plan against him, and they're going to take stuff away. But then he did have a good finish to the contest, and the Grizzlies got back into it, but they fell too far behind, and their defense was awful last night. How many threes did they hit last night? 20?
A bunch, and they took a bunch. By no means do I want what I don't want this any day of 3 hours of just badgering the home team. That's not very much fun, and that's really not either one of our trademark shtick, our deal. That's not what we have done, maybe even if it warranted. And it sure doesn't warrant it from last night. But just always that little bitty toe in the water on anything around the Grizzlies in comparison to the college guys, to 18 and 19 and 20 and 21-year-olds. And Drew forever has said it's because of
the university can't move. They can't leave us.
And we live in fear of
the Grizzlies leaving.
And we had a person yesterday allude to
the Grizzlies leaving.
Well, the Grizzlies, they could move in 10 years. But why?
Exactly. And to where?
And where, I guess.
Everybody can't
first
move
of
to
all,
Seattle and Vegas.
There's already a couple of teams that are really deeper in a hole and
That's right.
not as well
Grizzlies aren't going
supported as the Grizzlies are. So I don't think they are unless some really rich person would be willing to pay any kind of penalty, and the NBA would allow this, and maybe he'd move it to Vegas because he wants to move it to Vegas. It seems to me Seattle is first on the list because they really kind of robbed Seattle. Last night they gave up 19 threes at a 49% clip, and they turned the ball over 19 times. If the Tigers did that, there would be
meltdown.
Well, you know what they'd be going?
Blah.
They'd be saying Penny can't coach. I haven't heard anybody say anything about Taylor Jenkins
Not a
today.
whisper. And I don't know that it should be it even should be whispered, but it's not even up to the edge of it. And once again,
And by the way, the Tigers are 18-8, and the Grizzlies are one game over 500. So your point is taken to a certain extent,
and
but
the expectations,
I
you
do
nailed
think that's it. It all comes down to what did we expect in the beginning, and do you live up to it? And unfortunately, and this is the one weird thing, that if you really want to criticize, you can. Penny opened himself up when he said,
Wide
we're going to
open.
win a national title. I want all the smoke. And now he's getting smoke.
But
it's not exactly the smoke he wanted.
But can we just try to be fair? And when he said that, he was with the number one recruit in the country that will go in the top 3 picks in the draft that played 3 games for you. And on opening night, he stumbled into 28-14. He didn't even mean to against South Carolina State and had 28-14. That's when all the smoke. Now another thing. Here's another one.
By the way, at 14-7, I think, in the second half alone against Oregon, which is the team that could win the national title.
Here's another one for our lovable, beautiful hodgepodge of a market. Tigers are still Tigers will always be the number one entity in it. Grizzlies are probably 1A to 2. But we have a lot of others. The others all gather together. You got Auburn and Arkansas and Alabama and Ole Miss and Mississippi State and Tennessee and every other flag out there that you can wave. They gather up at Grizzlies time. If it goes wrong for the Tigers, they remember the warts. They remember the shortcomings. They remember all the smoke, and it's a point of derision for them.
Let me just tell you, nothing is forever. Okay, I'm not saying the Tigers are ever leaving town, because that university is too important to the workforce and the education of the masses. Okay, so that school is never going away, and hopefully I am with that school involved in their games forever.
You won't last forever.
That is where
they will.
That is where my heart is. But there will come a time, if the Grizzlies have this really good run with this core that they have right now, where they will at some point have that championship parade on Beale that Chris Wallace was so talkative about, and then it's on. I mean, then they'll be as big or bigger than Memphis, and it can go back and forth in time. But nothing ever remains the same. We know that.
It sure doesn't. Except for this. Every day this hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway.
And that could last forever.
And online at lexusofmemphis.com. We sure hope so. Call them at 901-362-8833. Today on The Price is Right, they were giving away Lexus cars. They were beautiful, too. You know I love to watch The Price is Right. Lexus of Memphis, they're offering the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. If you can't win one on The Price is Right, you can buy one over at 2600 Ridgeway. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at 2600 Ridgeway. Put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2020 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving great. They'll have the Tiger game on in the showroom tomorrow afternoon, open all day tomorrow. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design that makes for the luxury driving experience. 362-8833, online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, it's probably the thud of that beginning of the last part of the season last night, but they got another game tonight against the Lakers. But this is interesting. The vote on the National Football League collective bargaining agreement, this new CBA that the owners have passed, It will go to the full membership of the Players Association, but their executive council voted 6-5 against it. I don't know if it's the extra regular season game. I don't know if it's the extra wild card games. I would think if I were a part of that executive committee, the thing I would be going for, if you're going to get all this extra money, and I know you're giving us $5 billion of it, but if you're giving us that, we want better medical
long-term
playing
forever.
Insurance.
Forever. Lifetime health care.
And I don't think that's in it. And that could be, if I were on that executive council, I'd be going to all these guys, say yes to everything, but no to the final agreement until they give us total medical care until we pass. And the reason being, look at the past. Our life expectancy isn't that long, 1. 2, we have not taken care of our other brothers.
Sure haven't.
And 3,
how Willie Wood
if
just
we're
passed
going to
away
be
a few
playing,
weeks ago in that squalor,
right?
That's embarrassing.
And if we're going to play more, if we're playing more games in this already dangerous game that we know,
we need a little more.
You've got to take care of us the rest of our lives.
And there's even somebody has alluded to the owners kind of trying to rookie do them a little bit with in the deal now. They can raise the number of games anytime they want. They're going to get them to agree to 17, and they're going to tack on the even number 18 in about 2 years. And the players are already getting scared of, but we're agreeing to money for 17.
Right.
And you're going to be getting us for a game
for
free.
You would have to have a clause in there that if there's it would be an escalator clause. If you go another game, we get the equal share that we're getting at this point for the one game that you've just upped us.
I hope the Players Association vote it down. My top story, not a great night for the Grizzlies and one of the lackluster performances of the year for Ja Morant. The Grizzlies can be criticized, can't they? Well, sure they can. I don't think anything out of hand and unfair, but all this talk about who can and can't be criticized around here, I was told by a well-known sports guy that another well-known sports guy in town has said that any criticism of Coach Hardaway from the X and O front is crossing a line. What line? I don't think he should be ripped, but certainly questioned, maybe even criticized. But if Penny Hardaway can get criticized, Ja Morant and the Grizzlies darn sure can, because on the 1st and 15th, they got commas and zeros.
Well, you know who thinks Penny Hardaway should be criticized?
Penny Hardaway. That's who
he said. We're not above criticism.
I bet he's been rough on himself.
And I've heard Penny say to me publicly and to me when the mic's turned off that he's still growing into this job.
Sure.
He
He's 2 years into it.
I think he's learned several things.
I do too.
On roles.
I see him growing.
Things of
I see growth. You see growth?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Penny was the first guy to say, and honestly, he's not a thin-skinned guy. I've seen a lot more thin-skinned coaches than Penny Hardaway.
He's been whacked across the face by Rick Mahorn going to a bucket. He's not thin-skinned.
Well, he's been criticized as a player a lot of his life. I mean, you are going to have those that love you, but then there's going to go, hey, he's overrated. So he's used to that. That he himself says he's not above self-criticism.
Not top story of the day.
Well, this baseball thing, and we're going to talk to Tim Doolin a little bit about all this. Mike Fiers, the whistleblower, now with the Oakland A's. He says he's received death threats, but he's not worried about players retaliating against him. And Rob Manfred, the commissioner, has come out and said, we will do what we can to protect Mike Fiers.
Fiers is the Jose Canseco of his time, isn't he?
Yeah, but he didn't do it necessarily in a book. He just
pulled the fire alarms.
Told people exactly what's going on. Now, the interesting thing is
he couldn't get anybody to believe it.
It's going to be a hard one for you a little bit later.
Bring it.
And so I'm going to give you a little.
Right at the noggin?
I'm going to give you
a
little bit. No,
you playing beanball?
I'm being nice here. It's almost like a little BB gun now because I'm trying to get you ready for this.
I'm ready.
But with Canseco, all the players rallied around silence. They weren't going to say anything about anybody doing drugs. They were united This time, though, the players are all pointing the fingers at the Astros, and they want retribution. Why is it different this time? That's my question for you.
My not top story since the contract, I think it's mostly coincidental, but since the big contract, Dylan Brooks hadn't shot the ball well at all. He's been bad.
That's funny.
In February,
I was thinking the same thing last night.
In February, he's shooting 32% from the field, 17% from three in February. Can the Grizzlies be criticized? Can Dylan Brooks be criticized?
When did he sign that contract?
About
when was the trade
January 30th, February 3rd or so.
So really, it's pretty much his shooting went south when the ink got dry.
Can the Grizzlies be criticized? Are they just the town pet? Are they the sports talk show pet? The lovable, tickle them on the belly Grizzlies, never criticize them, but let's rip the stew out of the 20-year-old Tiger basketball players, and let's boo Brady White.
In a championship game in the first half. Crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Those are your top and your not top stories. We've got a busy show, as we mentioned. Elliot Perry, Inside Hoop City, on the Tigers and the Grizzlies. We'll talk with him in a minute. Peter Edmiston, same subject, the Grizz at 4 o'clock. Tim Doolin on All This Baseball. I'm going to ask him that same question. Evan Barnes, who's a busy man, writing for the Commercial Appeal, Tiger Football, and Grizzlies basketball, and there is a story, we'll get into that a little bit later, about Tiger football today, a good one. Hard ones at 5:30 and crunch time coming your way at 5:50. We are underway here in the Family Leisure Studios, and a reminder, the Factory Direct Pool Sale going on right now. That's on spas and patio furnitures too. Pool starting at $19.99, chemicals, toys, accessories, all up to 20% off. Spas starting at $21.99, and the big swim spas as low as $9,999, under 10 grand. Patio furniture 5-piece sets starting under $800. Maintenance poly-free furniture, that's that cool stuff. That's 20% off. And if you mention this ad, you get free delivery and 1 month of chemicals with all your spa purchases. Please get to I-40 and Whidden Road. See those fine folks at Family Leisure. Back in a minute. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Grab a seat every afternoon for Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Right here on Sports 56, 96.1 FM and 87.7 FM.
Mid-South Power Distributors is your source for all things diesel. Their newly renovated drive-in repair shop is open to the public. Whether it'll be your everyday driver, farm equipment, fleet vehicle, or heavy-duty truck, their ASE-certified technicians will get you back on the road. The on-site dyno is ready to run all the necessary diagnostic testing. From preventative maintenance to complete overhauls, Mid-South Power can handle it all. Stop in today at 3288 Mill Branch Road or call 901-396-0710 and online at mid-southpower.com.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
It's February. Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Are you considering replacing your air conditioning system this spring? Conway Services and Carrier have teamed up to make now the perfect time to replace that old energy-guzzling system. February is one of our slowest months of the year. Our warehouse is full and our crews are slow. So to spark business during these slow winter months, Conway Services is giving away Carrier 80% gas furnaces absolutely free with the purchase of a standard Carrier air conditioning system. That's right, purchase a Carrier air conditioning system in the month of February and get the gas furnace for free. If that's not enough, we'll include an April air cleaner, a 10-year parts warranty, and a free Nest thermostat. plus 12 months interest-free. See why I call it February? And you know with Conway Services, you'll be receiving our award-winning service every time. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier heating, cooling, plumbing, and electric service company, and the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old heating and air conditioning system will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Hey everybody, this is Coach Penny Hardaway. There's a comfort in being home, and to me, comfort food and family makes Memphis the place to be, along with having the best basketball fans in America. I like pulling into Corky's and getting one of their family party packs. How can you go wrong with pork, beans, slaw, sauce, and buns for only $5.99 a person? It is so easy. I can call ahead, order online, or just pop in. Tailgating can't get any easier. Tell them Penny sent you.
Encore flavor. Corky's barbecue.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stat. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochen and Brett Norsworthy.
Now you can live the good life like Elliot Perry is right now.
Terry in Los Angeles.
He is in Los Angeles. He
in
probably
Beverly Hills.
Just finished lunch. The Grizzlies
let's check
and
on
the
let's check
Lakers
on that weather in Beverly Hills right now.
Tonight.
What Elliot Perry's having to soak in right now.
I would say it's nice.
I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. It is right now 73.
Ooh, that's chillier than I would have thought. I thought
humidity 28%.
Oh, I love that.
Southeast wind,
sunshine.
9 miles per hour.
It's always sunny in Southern California, isn't it, Elliot Perry?
Look at the forecast.
Indeed it is. Indeed it is.
Hey, Elliot Perry. It's great to hear your voice.
How you guys doing?
All right.
Likewise.
Well, it was not a good start to where you were last night in Sacramento to the final third of the year, sort of a thud. It was a ball game, and I said this to start the show. It seems like if you put on a Memphis uniform, you're going to turn the ball over. 19 turnovers or 20 turnovers, whatever it was in this game. They gave up 19 threes. The defense wasn't exactly great until the fourth quarter. Ja, I thought, was struggling. What happened last night? Too rusty from the All-Star break?
No, I just think, this team is – we still forget this is a fairly young team. I think, the second half of the season is different than the first half of the season. I think they have to realize that teams are going to come out. They have a mark on their back now. And other teams behind them are pushing for the play. It came out with no sense of urgency last night. Sacramento, you have to give them credit. They played well. They shot the ball well last night. They entered on both ends of the floor. And, we just couldn't, Ja got off to a slow start. Jaren got off we just couldn't get our guys going until that fourth quarter when desperation kicked in.
Do you sense that they understand that, and maybe that's pressure, that they really, they needed to win last night because this is such a daunting first 4 games on this road trip, and that was probably going to be the easiest one. Do you think that affected them at all?
I mean, I think, at this point, you can't watch and think about easy struggling. So, Sacramento is one of those ever can really match up well against us. And there are no games that they have to.
Hey, Elliot, we're going to try to recall with you. You are breaking up badly, so we're going to put you on hold and try to reestablish you here. Thank you very much. He's right, and a little bit like the Tigers, right? They are a young team, and we sometimes forget that.
That's exactly right. And a little forbearance and a little patience is certainly necessary in this case, and I think most of us are and should be. But back to what we're talking about in the first one, the per game battering that the Tigers get versus kind of over a month period the Grizzlies don't get is what I'm wondering why.
Okay, I think we have reestablished.
Very good.
With Elliot and
now there you go. Hey, Elliot,
can you hear us well?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Oh, we got you beautifully now.
Much
Great,
better.
Great. So I think you were talking a little bit about the youth of the team, and uh, I asked you if there had been any pressure they might have felt last night, because this was the most winnable of this 4-game road trip.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should go into every game with a little sense of pressure and a little sense of urgency, and I think that that's something that they're going to have to get in their heads. Is every game is a big game for us. Every game that we win puts us closer to the mark, and so the quicker you can develop that mentality, because like I mentioned before, playing in the second half of the season is going to be different than playing in the first half of the season. Teams are going to be jockeying for positions. We have one of the toughest second part of the season schedules in the league. Most of the teams we're playing are teams who are in the playoffs or going to be in the playoffs, or either jockeying for a position. So this is a good learning experience for this team. I mean, I was talking to Scooney Penn last night, one of the assistant coaches for the Grizzlies, and talking about either way is going to be a good learning experience. If we walk through this and we still happen to make the playoffs, that's going to be a good learning experience to know what we had to do to get in the playoffs, and then having to play in the playoffs in the first round. And then if we don't make it, it's still a good learning experience in terms of what we needed to do to get there and how important it is to take each game one game at a time.
Elliot, great point. There's just no experience like experience, is it?
Yeah, no experience like experience. That's a good way to put it.
And last night on pregame, Rob Fisher had one of his fish nuggets. The rest of the way, as you just said, the highest percentage of winning teams the rest of the way, or scheduled the rest of the way that the Grizzlies face them, 54% the winning clip of the teams remaining. It's just not many gimmies out there. Maybe Brooklyn with the besieged state that they're in after losing Kyrie, but that's for a while. This is a road trip that could be really sobering. And Elliot, a little bit like baseball, the All-Star break may have worked against the Grizzlies. They wanted to stay out there at bat and keep playing. They had a chance to go home, to go on vacation, to get some relaxation time. And as you said, everybody's going to gear up and challenge them now. There's no more surprises.
Yeah, my hope is that the All-Star game helped them a little bit, just to try to get, some sense of some rest, get away from the game a little bit, because it can be a little monotonous at times. But I think I mentioned on the air last night that one of the things we used to do in Phoenix is the first game, the 5 games leading up to the All-Star break, we wanted to get those games. And the 5 games coming out of the All-Star break, we wanted to get those games. That was the 10 games that we always had marked on our schedule, because most teams, particularly some of the bad teams or in good teams, they start to get tired. They see the All-Star break and they just like, I just want to get there. And they don't worry about the record. And then coming out of the All-Star break, teams take a little bit of time to get back wound up. And, we wanted to be focused when we came out of the All-Star break. So I'm hoping that tonight be a different story.
The rotations are a little bit different, too. And I think that's a fair thing to point out. Because of the trades, Crowder no longer here, Solomon Hill no longer here. You've got Gorgie Jang, who's in the game, and he got minutes last night. Josh Jackson seems to me to be a really pleasant surprise. He may be a guy that will be a rotation guy at least the rest of the year and could be an important factor. The Goodrich minutes, I was a little surprised at. What's the rationale with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think coaches try different things on the road. They try different guys. They look at matchups and they think, this guy may be a good fit. We looked at Sacramento last night. They played small, and they wanted to give Goodrich probably another look. And but overall, Davis, that the bench played well. I thought the bench got us back in the basketball game 2 or 3 different times. So those guys made a tremendous impact last night. I thought our starters were the ones who were sort of sluggish and didn't really get off and didn't really play with any sense of urgency until in that fourth quarter.
It really looked last night like I feared tonight might look a little sluggish, a little rusty, a back-to-back after a long travel out there and a break and maybe letting the guard down a little bit. You got to keep that pardon the pun, you got to keep that eye of the tiger sometimes, and a little downtime can make that wane. So, boy, wouldn't it be fun tonight if last night was the stinker and tonight against Showtime at Staples was the real showplace game?
Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have to try to pep somebody up to play the Lakers.
No.
I mean, that's the key. I mean, these next 2 games are going to be important. The next 3 games are going to be important. And not to forget that when you come home Friday, Saturday, back-to-back, you got Sacramento and the Lakers again. And so my hope is, again, that guys refresh, come back out, and really get off to a good start. I think when we've gotten off to good starts, and Ja is a guy who's been aggressive, it just makes everybody else relax. He makes plays for everybody else. He's aggressive in trying to score the basketball. And so I just think that he's going to have to come out and set the tone tonight.
Tell me a little bit about Dylan Brooks, who was playing like a second or third best player on the team and got a nice contract extension because of it. I know this is coincidental. I really believe it. And I really like Dylan Brooks. I'm one of his biggest fans. But the truth is the truth. Since he signed that deal, he has not played very well. His shooting percentages are just basically falling from the sky.
Yeah, it's I mean, I won't say it's normal, but it's normal, that sometimes a guy plays with a lot of tension because they don't have the deal. They know they're playing for that next contract. And a lot of times when you get it, you let your guards down a little bit more. Most of us say, like, okay, now I can go ahead and relax and play. I think that's probably what he's done is he's sort of relaxed a little bit. He got off to a good start last night. He scored 7 points early, and he only finished with 9 points. So he's going to have to find a way to re-engage himself both mentally and physically. Start taking shots, even if that's just getting back in the gym one-on-one by himself and shooting balls. So, I'm not worried about him too much because I still think that was a winnable game last night. But we do need him to play at a high level.
Yeah, and what a 1 or 2 torrid games, just seeing that ball go through the net and get some confidence back would do for him, because his 3-point shooting percentage for February is 17%, and that's not him. That is a little bit of the scuffles and a rut, and I think he'll shoot his way out of it. He needs to just keep shooting, doesn't he, Elliot?
Yeah, that's what shooters do. I talked to him a little bit last night, just saying, the great players and the guys who score the basketball, they. At times they take bad shots. They have to force some shots sometimes just to try to get back in the rhythm. I'm not saying go out there and force shots. But if you look at his shot selection over his, last 2 or 3 games, he's very seldom has he had any real just clean looks. He had 1 clean look last night on an offensive rebound. But he just hadn't had those clean looks and those rhythm shots.
That's scouting.
I think, that's when guys make shots more when they have, a penetration kick out. And then it's a swing to one guy, then swing to the corner. And now you have that rhythm shot. You make them sit on that shot and shoot it. Dylan hadn't had that.
Elliot Perry will be on the call tonight when the Lakers and the Grizzlies meet up at the Staples Center. What are the 1 or 2 things you're most looking at in this matchup tonight?
Well, I think one is do the things that you do well. I talked a little bit about that in the first half of the season. They moved the basketball well. They second in the league in assists. So continue to move the ball and take good quality shots. The next thing they did well in the first half of the season was they protected the ball. They didn't turn it over a lot. They didn't allow their opponents to get out in transition a lot. So, take care of the value of the basketball. And I would say the third thing that I would be looking for tonight, which is probably be a little bit tougher tonight because the Lakers are big, is dominate the paint. That's the one thing they've been able to do. I mean, with Jonas Valanciunas dominating the paint, Jaren Jackson at times, and then plus our penetration, and Ja with a lot of his floaters getting points in the paint. I mean, you look at that game against the Portland Trailblazers. I mean, we outscored them 74-35 in the paint. I mean, so we just have to get back to doing the things that we do well and not let our guards down. You're going to be in a heavyweight fight. You're going to fight with your hands up.
All right, where are you staying in L.A.? I know this is tough because you got a day off and then you play the Clippers, but you never moved from the hotel. I imagine it's the Beverly Hills.
I'm going to guess Santa Monica.
Nah, I'm not going to say where we're staying, but
it ain't bad though, is it?
No, it's not bad.
Very good, Elliot. We're glad.
You enjoy, and we'll talk to you next week, usual time.
Thank you, Elliot.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. That is Elliot Perry. on the road with the Grizzlies.
Now, sometimes they stay at the Beverly Wilshire.
That's what I was trying to remember.
Never the Beverly Hills Hotel, but sometimes they've stayed in Santa Monica, and sometimes they stay right there at LA Live, right by the building. And they're there a couple of nights in a row, or for a while against the Clippers. They're there through Monday night against the Clips.
Right. They're sticking around.
They're going to pay LA County tax. They're there so long this trip.
I think they're
the players sure will. They'll get that California tax for these games played.
The players have to pay taxes in
wherever they are,
every state that they play in.
That's why they love going to Texas.
Yeah, that's right. I am trying to remember. Where's the Four Seasons? They either stay at Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton's usually.
I don't know in Los Angeles. I know the Beverly Wilshire because we used to have Rob's travel.
The Beverly Wilshire, that's
Pretty Woman.
That's not bad either.
That's Richard Gere and
absolutely.
Julia Roberts. I did see that movie, Drew.
Let us
good to know you've seen at least one or two of them.
You know, it is Friday night. I know you don't want to work. You've been working all week. You want a freebie tonight, but you want something good. And, maybe your family's expecting something too. Here you go. Commissary. So easy. You go to the new Collierville Commissary. That's the Germantown Commissary in Collierville. That's Poplar and Houston Levee Road.
You want to give a six-pack to somebody for tonight?
Sure.
We're getting ready. When we come back from the break, we're going to memorialize and finally remember 40 years ago tomorrow, the Miracle on Ice. Who was the backup goalie? I know you can Google that. But here's something kind of subjective. There's going to be a part two. What was really unique about him at Lake Placid during that Olympic run?
The backup goalie.
Because
the main goalie was Jim Craig. And the great story about his mother and his father and how it all played out.
He was going to save hockey in Atlanta when he signed with the Flames.
That was big, yeah.
It didn't.
It didn't, but he was a great story. I don't know who the backup is. You got me on this. Somebody will know. You'll get a six-pack of the barbecue I'm talking about, and that is the best pulled shoulder. And get it chopped, by the way. That gives
Memphis style
the flavor.
Slow, steady.
Slow cooked, Memphis style, a little smoke in there. That's the ribs, too. You can get them dry. You can get them wet. Whatever you want. You've got great banana pudding, but you like the lemon icebox pie. You can get tea, sweetened or unsweetened. You're going to get deviled eggs when you go. Oh, Brussels. They got a salad there.
Mm-hmm.
They got it all. And they got it at both places, the original Germantown Commissary and the new one. This is Poplar, Houston, Levee Road, and it makes it so easy. It's got triple the space, but it's got the drive-through. That's what makes it so easy for you.
Googling the goal
tonight. Yeah, 360-8255. 360-8255 for a six-pack from the Germantown or the Collierville Commissary. Let us know who the backup goalie was 40 years ago, when the USA won the gold medal and actually beat the mighty Soviet Union in the semifinal round. 360-8255. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
I'm
thinking wine. Sweetgrass has such a great wine selection.
I'll just have water.
Water? We didn't drive. Look at the great prices on Sweetgrass's wine list.
Nope, just water for me.
You okay?
I'm great, never better.
But you're drinking water. Wait a second. You always said that if you...
That's right.
You wouldn't...
That's right.
So you're saying you're...
That's right.
This is fantastic. I have a designated driver to Sweetgrass for months.
That's your takeaway from this news?
I mean, the baby thing is great, but a designated driver to Sweetgrass for months.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
We like to party. Craig able to get a piece of it to sweep it away. 28 seconds. The crowd going insane. Carlemon shooting it into the American end again. Morrow is back there. Now Johnson, 19 seconds. Johnson over to Ramsey. Bilyaletdinov gets checked by Ramsey. McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
"40 years ago."
35-year-old Al Michaels on the call.
Well, you can. I was thinking to
35.
myself, I've heard this call a million times, but you really hear a difference in the texture and the pitch of his voice. It's much higher then than it is now.
Ken Dryden on color, I thought his one word in it when he let out the unbelievable it's almost as good as "Do you believe in miracles?"
Yeah.
And
do you believe in miracles? I think that was totally spontaneous.
It was, and Drew and I, we watched it today. They go almost a minute and a half of no words, just the visual, just people going crazy, and we were.
And don't forget that is not the gold medal game.
No,
that is the semifinal game, because it was almost like a really great all-star Little League team beating a Major League Baseball team. That's about how good.
Had lost at the Garden 10-3 to them 2 weeks before that. The Red Army, the Soviet hockey team, had bulldozed NHL teams in every exhibition game. Jim Craig was so beat down from giving up 10, and the backup that we'll get to in a second, who was the backup goalie, they're thinking, how in the world do we stop them? 39 shots on goal against Jim Craig, allowed 3, win 4-3. And through all the years of going to the Super Bowl and all those different guests that we have access to, football stars, movie stars, I think my favorite one ever to visit with was Michael Ruzioni, the captain of the team, who was famous on Sunday for having the whole team go up to the medal stand after the win over Finland on Sunday morning that year. 40 years ago tomorrow in Lake Placid. You know what the population of Lake Placid is today? And it's a little bigger now than it was then.
I'm going to say
2,500.
I was going to say 8,000.
25. I mean, just no way an Olympics would ever go there again. It had been there in 60, I think, in Lake Placid. Goes back in 80.
Don't say that, because they still have all the facilities there. And honestly, there are not towns clamoring to be Winter Olympic towns.
No, they're not. And it really wasn't then. Remember, Denver was supposed to be a Winter Olympic site.
I was living there then. They voted it down. It was accepted to host the Olympics, and then there were so many ecology people and nature preservationists.
Well, you got to build a new town for it.
Well, they basically put it on the ballot, and it was voted down by the citizens of the state of Denver, of Colorado.
Yeah,
and that is what occurred. All right, so what I'd love to know is,
it was the biggest upset in the history of sports.
We're going to get to the backup for Jim Craig, but I'd love to see the story on either the coach or the goalie of the Russian team. What was their life like after this, because that country took such great pride that nobody could beat these guys. These guys were the greatest hockey team in the history of the game. We think it's Canada's sport, but the Russians actually thought they were better at it. This was their best conglomeration. They never lost games, and that's, like you said, to NHL teams or to the Canadian All-Star team. And here you go.
To lose to these kids.
Guys, and wow. I'd love to know whatever happened to the goalie, what his life was like.
I think the biggest upset in sports history, I think it was the biggest sports event of the 20th century, and now 20 years into the 21st century, I still think it's the biggest sports event ever.
Certainly the biggest upset that I can recall. In the meantime, the backup goalie, not well known. This may be the least amount of participation that we've had.
Hard to get this.
Cannot figure this one out. Thomas, I know you're smart.
Backup goalie.
On the First Bank phone line at 360-8255, you can tell us the United States backup goalie for the Miracle on Ice.
First of all, he was the only member of the U.S. team that didn't even get to play in none of the Olympic games.
And that was part two. Way to go, Thomas.
Not 1 second.
Not a second. He didn't play a down.
Steve Januzak.
That is it. Number
Thomas,
one.
I'm so proud of you. How did you know that? Tell us the truth.
I ain't gonna never forget that. I remember me and my mom, my dad was watching that game. I'm not a big hockey fan, but I don't know why we would sit there and watch that game
on a Friday night.
On a Friday night, everybody figured that the United States was gonna get just humiliated.
And it was on tape. The game played about 4:00.
Right.
It was the first hockey game, Thomas, I ever watched end to end. Still don't know the rules. Still mostly don't care. But Thomas, everybody is just like you just recalled. I can tell you exactly where I was and who I was with. It was one of those moments, and it was a good moment. It was a great moment.
And my other Olympic moment is when the United States basketball team got cheated out of that game against the Russians.
In 72.
That's the biggest sports robbery in the history of sport. So isn't it amazing? Because you're right. The greatest upset comes from an Olympic Games. The biggest robbery that I've ever seen in my lifetime, and probably ever will, came at that Olympic, different Olympic venue.
Doug Collins threw his silver medal away.
Doug Collins, I don't think he ever accepted it either.
No, he didn't. And
I don't think he ever took it.
No, he never accepted it.
Yeah.
Thomas, we're going to put you on hold. You win. Way to go. Have a great weekend,
man.
All right, guys. Thank
you.
The barbecue is on us and Walker Taylor and all the good folks from the Collierville Commissary.
I want to say the Summer Olympic loss to the Soviet Union in 72, that might have even been a September game. Because I think we were trying to watch or listen to college football as that game was also on TV as well. I want to say it was early September.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, could be. Usually the Olympics are late August, aren't they? Or late August, early September. That would go right in there.
It varies. Sometimes Atlanta was July into August.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
But it was robbery.
Caller called in and actually reminded me of this. If you want to know what happened to the 1980 Soviet team, there's actually a 30 for 30 on it called Miracles and Men.
What was the gist of it?
It just basically follows the life after going back home after the
splitting rocks in Siberia.
Was their lives? Was it tough?
I don't think anybody
should we
died
be chuckling
or anything.
Well,
no, it's a pretty good documentary. I've seen it.
Okay. I'll definitely look that up. Thank you very much. We take a timeout. We are back in a minute. 1 hour in the books. 2 more to go before the weekend is here. Coming up, Peter Edmondson on the Grizzly Start and a whole lot more. This is Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats.
All right, Mid-South, let's keep the title in Collierville. Landers Ford is making all the right moves to once again win the prestigious Ford's President's Award. Now their team has won it a record 18 consecutive years. Just think about that. They've won the championship 18 years in a row. Who else can say that? And their solid lineup of veterans is ready to help you drive home in a new Ford. I'm told today they're offering more for your trade, low financing, and incredible deals. So don't miss all of these winning plays. Visit LandersMemphis.com lendersmemphis.com. That's lendersmemphis.com. Then hurry into the only dealer in the Mid-South to win the prestigious Ford's President's Award a record 18 consecutive years. Landers Ford in Collierville. And the final play comes from the 1977 Ole Miss football player on that team that beat number 1 ranked Notre Dame. Landers Ford General Manager Don Kitchens.
If it doesn't say Landers, you paid too much.
Hi, I'm Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Do you have any idea why I never speak the way I am right now? It's because if you're honest, sincere, and knowledgeable, you do not need fast-talking, high-energy, gimmick-promising advertising to get a customer's attention. Speaking of that, how do you think companies can offer huge rebates and giveaways when you use their services or buy their products? By overcharging you in the first place, that's how. Five-Ash Roofing doesn't operate that way. It's misleading and dishonest. When I provide a customer with the best products and the best service possible and do it at a fair price, why would I need gimmicks to sell it? Best products, best warranties, and best service possible. That's all we offer. Well, that and financing. Five-Ash Roofing, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Memphis Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
It's not too early to start planning for spring at Family Leisure. New pools are starting at $19.99, spas starting at $21.99, and swim spas now only $99.99. 5-piece patio furniture starts at only $799. Pool chemicals, toys, accessories, and more up to 20% off. Mention this ad, you'll get free delivery and 1 month of chemicals with your spa purchase. Start your spring planning now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road and I-40, where family and fun come together.
Tiger Hoops fans have something extra to look forward to this coming March. Not only is it tournament time, but it's the opening of the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace Museum.
After Finch's two-pointer, Ronnie Robinson sank the shot that once again brought the two teams into a tie.
Come to the Pink Palace Museum this March and experience 100-plus years of Tiger men's and women's basketball, from their beginnings as the West Tennessee State Normal School to the present.
The Tigers are very much alive.
Don't miss the Tiger Hoops exhibit at the Pink Palace Museum, opening March 7th.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Do we tell on ourselves on the phone? And it was a joint venture on your ringer?
No, we're not going there. That's a tech
I think
thing.
you tell on yourselves, because it took me half a second to do it.
So we can't get Dave's ringer off on his phone, and I can't. I go to settings.
I'm used to a Samsung. I've only had this.
I take it into Drew, and just on the side he turns the ringer on silent.
Yeah, I don't know how it got turned on. That's the weirdest.
You got an iPhone?
Finally, he's going blue
I didn't
to blue,
want one.
baby.
This was my wife made me get this.
And
I love your wife.
And I criticized you so bad.
I hate to tell you guys in the world, but I'm not sure that a Samsung phone isn't better than an iPhone.
If it's not going through blue, you're not living.
No, I don't know. Is Apple paying you or what? I mean, seriously.
Of course, Apple's paying us.
There are 2 or 3 things.
Apple's paying us big.
That I think Samsung.
How do you think John and I roll like we roll?
That I think Samsung does better than this, but it is what it is. Now I'm hooked in. Now I'm cool because I got an iPhone. Welcome in hour number 2. Peter Edmiston is going to join us here momentarily. You heard
he's not an iPhone guy.
The big announcer man say this hour is presented by Genesis of Olive Branch. My new car, the G90, that's so new. I've had it a little bit, and the coolest thing is
your phone syncs up better with Apple than it does with Samsung and your.
They both did well there. They both did well there. Well, that's part of it is the Genesis or, the Hyundai products. You Bluetooth those things, boom, boom, boom. They are in there. They download your files and everything so quick. It's really good. But you'd expect that. This is a luxury car. My G90, it's about as big as a limo. That's not really. It doesn't handle that way. It handles like a sports car. Then there is the G70, which is a sports car with a back seat, looks like a James Bond car. Then, of course, you got the middle one, the G80, and you've got an SUV coming. Can't wait for that Genesis SUV. They already advertised it on the Super Bowl. It looks cool as can be. Speaking of which, you can have cool seats on a day like today. You got to put the warming seats on, or you can put on the steering wheel warmer, or you can control every part of the car individually with the climate control. Same thing for audio. It's really cool, and it rides like a rocket, and it's so plush inside. It's just fantastic. Go see for yourself. Every car's so well built, 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. You can't beat it. You can't beat where they do the business. That's Genesis of Olive Branch. Go see the way car business should be done. Peter Edmiston from the Morning Experience and from The Athletic always joins us in this time slot. I started the show at 3 o'clock, Peter, and I basically said, I don't know. If you put a uniform on that says Memphis on it, you're just going to throw the ball away. 19 turnovers last night?
Way too many. It did look a lot like a little tigery last night, for sure. There's no question. It was, I don't know, very strange, honestly. Just a weird night for the Grizzlies.
Very rusty.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it was like we were talking earlier today about the idea of I've never seen Ja Morant less engaged for most of the game. In the fourth quarter, he scored a bunch of points. He got himself back into it a little bit, got the team back into it a little bit, but he was just a non-factor, which is really rare for him. It's hard for him to play and not be some kind of factor. He's so good. That was really strange in so many ways. It was just an odd situation, and I suppose it kind of reminds me of what I think most of us thought this year would look like. Is a lot of games like that. That's what a lot of people would have expected going into the season. That's what this would be, and they've been so far ahead of the curve that now you kind of grade them on a different scale. They're not. It's not JV. For them, it's regular varsity, and so you got to take a regular varsity kind of grade. You got to. You've shown that you can play golf pretty well, so you're not going to play from up anymore. Now you're going to play back from the tips, and sometimes it's a little tricky from the tips. Last night was an example.
It was weird, although I got to say, it's not the first time that I've seen Ja Morant, I think, try to get everybody else involved, not appear to be as engaged, and then in the fourth quarter, because that's his best scoring quarter. Isn't he like second in the league in fourth quarter scoring? That's when he seems to come on, and maybe he's got to rethink that a little bit because you felt into too big a hole.
But the difference was he wasn't trying to get his other teammates involved in the first three quarters. He just wasn't doing it. Like he would come down the floor and sort of throw the ball to Dylan Brooks and just kind of go and hang out. Like it wasn't like he was racking up a bunch of assists. He's had plenty of games this year where he's had 2 points, 4 points in the first three quarters, but he's had 6 assists, 7 assists. He's been a part of the action. He wasn't even part of that. I mean, he wasn't in it. He wasn't part of it. His defense last night was atrocious, and he's been a pretty good defensive player, way better than we would have expected. He got absolutely blown by on a number of occasions by De'Aaron Fox. So that's not him. I mean, he was not part of it in a meaningful way until it was far too late. It wasn't like him. So I don't know. Like, I might be inclined to agree with you, but he wasn't even getting his teammates involved. He just wasn't part of it. The Grizzlies didn't light up and didn't get going until Tyus Jones got in the game. And then you saw them come back, and then you saw them start to kind of dig out of his hole a little bit. So just a bad night for him.
since you bring up De'Aaron Fox, De'Aaron Fox looks like he's actually faster. And he's the first guy that I've seen this year that looks faster than John Morant or quicker.
I mean, he's definitely he's got Ja's number this year. He's a really good player. Yeah, he is as big as Ja, but he is definitely. I don't know that he's a straight line quicker. There's probably all different kinds of ways to measure it. But I do know that he has all of that in a package that's a little more powerful, a little more muscular.